Section 1. A deceptive facade, unmasking the illusions of cohabitation. Cohabitation. It's often presented as a practical step before marriage, a trial run for couples to test their compatibility. But this is a dangerous deception. Cohabitation is not a harmless alternative to marriage. It directly contradicts the sanctity and purpose of this sacred union. God designed marriage not as a social experiment, but as a lifelong covenant. This covenant is between one man and one woman, ordained by God and meant to reflect His image. Cohabitation attempts to circumvent God's design, replacing commitment with convenience. It's a counterfeit of marriage, offering the illusion of security without true commitment. This arrangement often leads to pain, disillusionment, and broken hearts. God's ways are always for our good, even when they seem challenging. Choosing cohabitation over marriage is choosing a path that directly opposes God's loving plan for us.
Section 4. Cohabitation's casualties, the human cost of rejecting God's plan. The consequences of choosing cohabitation over marriage are far-reaching, impacting individuals, families, and society as a whole. Couples who cohabit often experience higher levels of relationship dissatisfaction, conflict, and instability. The absence of a firm commitment creates an environment of uncertainty and insecurity, leading to emotional distress and relational breakdowns. Children are particularly vulnerable to the negative effects of cohabitation. Studies have shown that children raised in cohabiting households are more likely to experience emotional and behavioral problems, perform poorly in school, and face increased risks of poverty and family instability. These outcomes underscore the importance of God's design for family and the irreplaceable role of a stable, married household in a child's well-being. The casual nature of cohabitation undermines the very foundation of trust and commitment. It fosters a mindset that views relationships as disposable, easily broken when challenges arise. This mentality not only harms individuals but also erodes the fabric of society, leading to a culture of fear of commitment and a lack of respect for the sanctity of marriage.
Section 5. Rebuilding the foundation, restoring marriage to its rightful place. The good news is that there is hope. We can reverse the negative trends associated with cohabitation and rebuild a culture that honors God's design for marriage. It starts with individuals making a conscious choice to align their lives with God's word and embracing the sanctity of marriage as He intended it. We must be willing to challenge the prevailing cultural narrative that downplays the importance of marriage. We need to be vocal advocates for God's design, sharing the truth about marriage and its benefits with our families, friends, and communities. This might involve uncomfortable conversations, but it's a battle worth fighting for the sake of our children and the future of society. Churches also have a crucial role to play. We need to provide premarital counseling that emphasizes the significance of marriage as a covenant, equip couples with the tools to build strong and lasting marriages, and offer support and guidance to those who have been impacted by cohabitation or divorce. By creating a culture that values and supports marriage, we can begin to heal the wounds of broken families and rebuild a society founded on God's timeless principles.
Section 6. A call to holiness, embracing God's design for marriage and life. Ultimately, our response to the issue of cohabitation is not just about societal norms or statistics. It's about our personal relationship with God. It's about surrendering to His authority and choosing to live in obedience to His word, even when it challenges the status quo. God calls us to holiness, and that includes honoring His design for marriage. Choosing marriage over cohabitation is not always easy. It requires sacrifice, commitment, and a willingness to put the needs of another before our own. But it's in these acts of selflessness that we experience the fullness of God's blessings and discover the true meaning of love. Let us be a generation that reclaims the sanctity of marriage, a generation that champions God's design for family, and a generation that models holiness and commitment to a world desperately in need of His truth. Let us choose God's path, not the world's, and experience the abundant life He promises to those who seek Him with all their hearts.